Everyone, thank you so much for joining me. If you were joining me on the live stream just a moment ago, it actually crashed. I don't know why. I have a few suspicions, but it doesn't matter. I'm back. I just deleted the other video. The breaking news here, DJ Uiagalelei. I always messed it up. No disrespect, dude. If you say that, seriously, no disrespect. He is transferring to Oregon State. I think that's quite interesting. His brother, one of the top players in the country, just signed with Oregon. So Oregon's located in Eugene, Oregon. Oregon State's located in Corvallis. They're less than an hour drive from each other. So it would be easy for his family to go see both brothers and, support them, which they should. First of all, Merry Christmas Eve. I'm not Bobby Durkin. I'm Bobby Durkin. I'm not Bobby Durkins. I'm Brian Knight. Thank you for joining me. I am Bobby in some form, just not right here. If you're brand new, hit the subscribe button. It's free. Two more reasons to hit that subscribe button. It's free, and it's free. Also, hit the thumbs up and turn on the notifications, which are free as well. It just supports the channel, and I do appreciate it. My good friend Parker Henderson sent me a message tonight while I was at a Christmas gathering at my mother's house, like a good Southern son should, and he let me know that DJ will be transferring. Now, I want to go ahead and tell you this. DJ was one of the highest rated players ever signed in the history of Clemson football, period. One of the highest rated ever. And that means a lot, and I'll get to that in just a second. We know what happened in 2020 at Notre Dame. That is the game that lives in infamy. And it's a nightmare, probably even for DJ to a point. Maybe I could be wrong. I've never met the guy. He seems very nice. I don't have anything bad to say about him as a person. Then 2021 happened. And let's just be honest with ourselves. That was just bad football. It wasn't just him. It was the wide receivers. That was one thing that I was blind to. The wide receivers stopped fighting. And then, of course, through the wonderful, incredible people that I've met through being Bobby Durkins, being on shows like Mark Rogers. Heck, I even made ESPN. I've met a lot of wonderful people who stay anonymous, but also check out their story, and it checks out. Who came to me and told me that the wide receiver room was divided over NILs or NIL deals or the lack thereof. And if I told you how close this person is to the team, I would probably get them in trouble. I would get them in trouble. But the point that I'm saying is there was much more that was going on with DJ. We found out that he had stuff going on in his family. My heart goes out to him there. If there is one thing that'll drive a person, even a good solid person, crazy, is family problems. And we know what happened in 2021. This year, he comes out, he's lost weight, he's throwing the ball better. The guy's got an arm. The guy does have an arm. And he wouldn't, at times, in the first part of the season, he did very well. In certain games, he did very well. There was other games, it was, but he did okay. But there were certain games, the Wake Forest game, he did very, very well. But where the pendulum swung against him was the Syracuse game. Cade came in and fixed it. But Cade went back to the bench. And DJ came out. It was almost like the wheels had fallen off for him. And we know what happened. He goes into the ACC championship. First two drives. I'm not saying the guy doesn't care, but it did not look like he cared. The problem with that, and I think about this from just a standpoint as an individual facing issues, imagine being him. He was one of the top recruits overall in the country. Not top 20, not even top 15, not top 10. We're talking about top 3 recruits in the country. You come out to Clemson, and it's just not happening. This system was not right for him. The coaches, in my opinion, should have tailored a plan to his abilities. Or if they're not going to do that, start Cade. He could have transferred last year. He didn't. Okay? Let's be honest with ourselves. He did not transfer last year. There's a lot of guys who's losing their minds right now. They're following coaches around like puppy dogs. We just saw that from Jackson State. And I'm going to leave it at that for the reason of why all of that was terrible. Because every time I mention that, my system crashes. This is the 3rd time it just crashed. That was the reason why I'm not serious. I'm not one of those people who believes that there's some type of evil around every corner or hiding behind every bush or every weird guy with a mustache is a child molester. But at the same time, 3 times, my God. So, but my point is that DJ did stick around. He stuck around, and he got to the North Carolina game, and it was almost like, man, I just don't want to be here anymore. And I wouldn't blame him to a point. Cade comes out and does what Cade does. That's a whole other story. I've talked about that so much. But I think him going to Corvallis, going to Oregon State, Oregon State did quite well this year considering Oregon State football. I mean, this is a team who's had a few bright spots, but that's been about it over the past 20 years, you know. And when you think about that, you think about Oregon State football, and you think about the players that they've had in the past, and the teams that they've had in the past, but it's in the past. It just they did pretty well this year. I'm looking at their schedule. This year, Oregon State played Florida. No, that was in the postseason. Sorry, but they did win that. They played Florida. Yeah, that was this year. They played Florida, beat them 30-3. That was in the bowl game. But at the beginning of the year, they beat Boise State, Fresno State, Montana State, all the states. Southern Cal, they lost only by 3 points. Now, Utah really throttled them. That was kind of a shock. But and then after that, they barely beat Stanford. I don't know if players were injured during the Utah game. Forgive me for that. They turned around, beat Washington State 24-10, beat Colorado, the fighting Deion Sanders 42-9. Of course, Deion Sanders was not there then. He was down at Jackson State telling them he cared about their program. And Washington Huskies, they barely lost by 3 points. Washington is one of those up and down teams. You never know which Washington team you're playing. If you're playing the good Washington team, I don't care who you are, you're going to have a fight on your hands. If you're playing the Washington team who just seemingly doesn't care, you know, if they pee on the toilet seat, you could blow them out of the water. They beat California. They beat Arizona State. And they beat Oregon. That was a big deal, 38-34. The end of the season. So Oregon State, needless to say, they finished 10-3. That's a great season for a lot of teams, especially a team like them who's trying to get better. They're trying to grow. They're trying to really establish themselves, not only within their league, but within the country. But you have to do it within your league first. And so he's going out here to play for this team who has a lot of high hopes. And it's just and by the way, I just flipped back over to the screen. I can see comments here. I'm going to get to this just a second. Thank you. Everybody, thank you for joining me. I know there's other people live streaming right now. I think Pigskin Pete's live streaming. He always live streams at this time. I'm in competition with him. He's a friend of mine. But I just saw this. I got back from a Christmas event, and I was like, I want to go live, and then I got to go to bed. Long weekend, y'all. Good weekend, but long weekend. I think this system's going to be right for him. I think that this system could be really good for him. I believe that he was in the wrong system. Now, you can ask my wife. I'm wrong at times, but I'm going to say right at times. I also keep messages where people come on and they're being jerks. Now, you know me, I've talked about it. I cannot stand people who are just so. The reason society is going to the toilet right now and it's circling the bowl is because everybody is so offended at everything. And they've got a reason to be offended. But there are times people are jerks and they go too far. And some of the comments that I've heard, because I have made a statement that I believe in DJ. I believe that he is a talented person. I believe he's a talented player. I just think he was in the wrong system. And once again, somebody told me, I said, Brian, you have been dogging Clemson's coaching staff. All of your videos are the same. It's really getting old. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to listen to you, and I'm just not going to do that. But I will have to say this. This is what's sad is I would almost not have to even address this. But I am not going to let this guy go out to Corvallis without saying this. The guy was not developed. Tyson Fomachu, however you say his name, wasn't developed. Wasn't developed. Kelly Bryant should have been switched to another position. There's players playing positions everywhere. So, not dogging coaches, but at the same time, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to let some boy, some guy, take the flack for coaches who are paid literally hand over fist to develop them. There was moments, yeah, he threw the ball in the dirt and you couldn't explain it. There was moments, I'm going to tell you, one of my favorite plays DJ had. They're playing against Boston College 2020. Trevor couldn't play because of some element that at the time had the world stopped on its, in its place. Got to be careful what I say. And he came out there and he threw a post route to Amari Rogers. And that post route was about from the 20-yard line. He nailed Amari Rogers. I'll guarantee you at about the 45 or the 50-yard line. And he threw that ball so doggone hard and so much on a rope. When he caught that pass, go look it up. 2020 Boston College at Clemson. And when you see the pass, you'll know it. The guy didn't get lucky. That was talent. And when he threw that pass, Amari Rogers caught the ball, and he got up and pointed on the first time, but there was this joy and this excitement that he had that went beyond, we just got a first down. It was like, oh, my God, he got the football to me that hard. Folks, you can't teach that. If the diamond is there, mine it. And last thing I'm going to try, this the last bad thing I'm going to say. Okay? If you have to mine diamonds, and that's part of developing as a coach. If you really don't want to mine, you just want the diamond to show up, you're going to miss out on a lot of great players and a lot of great stories. With that said, DJ did struggle. He was not in the right system. And he was out there. And I'm going to tell you this. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll come back on here and I'd say I'm wrong. But I think the guy's going to go out there. By the way, their coach, what's his name? Is it Jonathan Smith? Something like that? This guy just got a $30 million contract. I mean, congratulations to him. Congratulations to him. You go out there, you produce. There we go. Ty Tavares, please forgive me if I'm mispronouncing your last name. I see you in here. You're talking about you're a big Oregon State fan. Thank you for joining here. Most of the people here are Clemson fans, and then, of course, a few Georgia fans who loves to come in here and throw your mama jokes at me. It's kind of fun. Some of them are creative. I mean, if it's creative, even if it's insulting, if it's creative, I'll take it. But thanks for joining in. Mama jokes. Yes, B-Bean. Mama jokes are some of my favorites. Also, your mama, like on Napoleon Dynamite. That girl was like, something about going to college. And he's like, your mom goes to college. He does that. I'm going to tell one on myself. So recently, I'm a musician. So I was at a rehearsal at a really good friend of mine. He's been a really good friend of mine for many, many years. He's old enough to be my dad, but, So all of us musicians, I mean, we've been rehearsing for like 3 or 4 hours. And we were covering the song Cold as Ice by Foreigner. And so we were going to, and it was time to rehearse it. We'd finished another song like, Don't Stop Believing by Journey, or one of those classics. He said, all right, let's move on to Cold as Ice. And before I realized, because I do this at my house, me and my kids and my wife, we have a field day with your mom. I said, your mom's cold as ice. Forgetting that his precious mother had passed away 6 months ago. I think that's one of the worst, if not the worst thing I did in 2022. I don't think that he heard me. My oldest son, Bobby Durkin Jr., was there, and he was like, when he found out that his mom had passed away. So, yeah, that happened, BB. That really happened. Getting in here real quick, Clemson Carson with the OGs. Joe Hughes. We got BB and Taco Game in 75. Chase Henderson, the other broad, showed up. It's good to see you, Chase. Your brother's here. He's wandering around. Sent me a picture. He's watching. He and his wife, they're sitting there watching right now. Probably thinking about renaming their children with my name. Brian 1 and Brian 2. Beautiful, beautiful children. Ty Tavares. You got Chris Lyon. And Parker Henderson says, present. Yes, B-Bean, I did it. Ty Tavares, and I'm shamefully doing this, or shamelessly doing this. Shamefully, maybe. If you're part of any Oregon State forums, pass it along, let them know I am talking about DJ, and maybe they'll check it out. Even if they hate my guts, I'll take it. I really don't care. So I'm going to close this sucker down because, well, I have a long day tomorrow, and you probably do too. And it's the wind chill right now is like negative 10 degrees right now at my house. So I wish the very best to DJ. At the end of the day, he's a 21-year-old guy. And it's bothersome to see someone come out of high school, one of the highest rated players ever. Not just come to Clemson, but ever. And I'm telling you, Clemson fans, I'm breaking what I said just a second ago. How many 4- and 5-star quarterbacks are you going to have to go through before you realize we need to fix something? Anyway, does DJ bear any responsibility? Yeah. I mean, ability. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, every player, every person owns some form of responsibility in every situation. That does not mean that they own a ton of the situation. He is the player. He is the player. And they knew what type of player he was coming out of high school when they recruited him. If you're a defensive lineman who consistently plays 4-3 and you go to a 3-4 defense, things are going to be different. And if they're recruiting you to play a 3-4 defense and you've been playing a 4-3 defense, it's even more responsibility on the people who are paid millions of dollars to be able to evaluate a 17 or 18-year-old boy. I mean, if these jobs are so easy, you tell me why in the golden crapshoot are they paid so much money? It's because they're supposed to be specialists. That's the reason why a person who digs a ditch is paid significantly lower than a neurosurgeon. This is not brain science, no pun intended. Brain science. I did that on purpose, by the way. Brain surgery, rocket science. They're paid a lot of money to be able to figure out what this. If the adults are always pointing fingers at each other and then they're pointing them back at the boys and the young guys, going, well, it could be their. Listen to me, folks. Listen to me. When you see that, it might be time for some accountability to be brought up. DJ needs to take full advantage of this new opportunity. Go out there, run the offense just as Jonathan Smith says, get to know that team inside out, learn from his discrepancies here at Clemson, and go for it. I mean, what more can you say? What more can you really say? I can't remember if I mentioned this on the prior video or on this video, but this is going to be my last statement. Told you that last year, that one of the reasons that wide receivers quit on him, something that quite honestly I overlooked. Wide receivers did quit on him. They did. They stopped fighting for the ball. And this year, they stopped fighting for the ball. They came into the game and with Cade, and Cade did great. That's wonderful. I agree. I saw it myself. I'm not blind to it. One question for you. What happens when Cade ticks them off? Oh, he's not going to. Do you know that? I don't know that. If you know that and you're that good at like almost being a psychic, please, 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 let's you and I connect, and I'm going to go play the lottery with the numbers you give me. I'd love to hear all about it. Just wow. Chase Henderson said he likes my hair. It's a big deal. I'll sleep well tonight. I'm going to tell my wife that you said my hair looked nice tonight. It's great. It's great. Well, I mean, most of the time when I get on here and I'm doing my videos, especially as this guy, I'm either wearing a hat or I just really don't care. Anyway. All right, folks, I'm shutting this thing down. Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas weekend. I'll try to do some videos maybe tomorrow. I very, very well doubt it. But I really do appreciate everybody coming out supporting the channel. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications. It's free. It's flipping free. Pass it along to any forums. This channel has really, really grown fast. I know it doesn't have 100,000 subscribers, not a million, tens of millions, everything. But for, I didn't start back in 2006 when, you could immediately get 500,000 followers. I appreciate everybody who has joined this channel, and it's almost at 1,000 subscribers right here before Christmas. I just started about 3 months ago. So 4 months ago. Thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you. Appreciate the support and you just showing up. So, good luck to DJ. Good luck to Clemson. Next week at this time, we'll know who won the Tennessee-Clemson game. If I'm remembering the timeline, I think it is the 30th. So we should know that. And yeah, I'm going to try to stop doing so much. I'll go back and listen to this and hear that just because I like to hear how this mic sounds and so on. Thank you so much. Have a great evening. You know what? Even when it's tough, it's always good to be a Tiger. Go Tigers. Take care.